questions, and maybe you can answer this to the audience, and even the audience, you can answer them too. So number one is, does my family have access to my personal information? So Jason, does your wife have the password to your Instagram or Facebook account?
I hope not.
So think about all of your personal information. Think about your credit cards, your line of credit, your email, what is it? Tangible assets, driver's license, health card, SIN number, all of those things. So does your spouse, your loved one, have all of that information right now? Yes or no? Okay? Yes? Okay, so next question, very, very simple. Do I have a will, power of attorney, and healthcare directive? Jason, do you have a will? Please tell me you do.
Yeah, I have like 35.
Okay, he has a lot of different versions of it. Okay, so raise a hand, who has a will right now? Perfect. Okay, so think about that. If you don't, okay. So if you have a will, that's very, very important, and it's amazing that you do because you're being very proactive. What happens is when someone actually passes away, their estate, everything basically that they own that has their name on it, is distributed from the will. Okay, if you do not have a will, what happens is that the law, in this case the Canadian government, will step in and they will make the decisions on how your estate is being distributed. Worst case scenario, it could be something called the probate process. Okay, so just keep that one in mind. And question number 3, who is your executor or beneficiary on any of your policies, on your investments, etc.? And do they have enough time and money to follow through with those wishes? So an example for your beneficiary or executor is probably your spouse, you know, someone that you love, someone very close to you, your relative. And, you know, do they, if you did pass away, is it going to be a burden for them? You know, maybe my beneficiary is my sister. She's a single mom. She has 2 really young kids. She works really, really hard. And honestly, if I passed away, I think she would be kind of mad at me. She'd be like, man, you left me with all of these things to do. I don't have the cash flow in my pocket to do it. Like, that's great. Thanks so much. You know, so think about that too. Who is that person? Okay. And one really, really important one is, what if well, with WSB, I know you all have a lot of trips throughout the year, a lot of overseas trips. So what if something happened when I am outside of Canada? If I did pass away, then does my family know how to make the arrangements, who to call, who to contact, etc.? Because really, if you're traveling overseas, something happens, something really unexpected, in order to bring your loved one back home, they need something called a statement of death from a funeral director, right? And obviously, it's a very tedious process. It takes a really, really long time, and honestly, who's going to have the time in that capacity to Google things and call these 1-800 numbers? I'm not too sure. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. And then the last question is, will my loved one be able to attend my funeral? I did use the word funeral. I tried to Google another word for it. Really, I think that's the best word to use for it. But, you know, when we have that service, we have family across Canada, we have family overseas, maybe not in Ontario, in Alberta, whichever, and think about when they come to our memorial service, where are they staying? Who's going to pick them up? Are they going to take Uber? Are they going to fly here? Are they going to drive? Do they have money for that? Maybe they just won't come. You know, think about that too. These are all of the costs that are incurred that we don't really think about. All of these questions that we ask, it's something very simple, but it has a really